Number 28. What are the rectangular coordinates of the point 5, 5 pi over 6? Now, this point, since it's got a value, and then here it has a angle, what this is in is polar form. We would say this is r and theta, or you could also say hypotenuse and theta. You could do it either way. So we've learned a few things this year. As we've carried on, we've learned the song psi y, cos x, tangent is y over x. And with it, we said that there was something silent in that song. It was that the h, or if you so prefer, the r, that is underneath the y and the x. So psi y, cos x. And we learned also that tangent was y over x, or is y over x. Not that that one's important in this problem. What's important are these two. And so if we want to know what y equals, to get rectangular coordinates before I go too far, what rectangular coordinates are referring to are the x and y's. Because a rectangle, if you think about it, we have a length and a width. Okay, but as we got going in pre-cal, we don't call them a length and width anymore. We call it an x and a y. So rectangular just means change it to an x and y value. And so here's how you convert an r and theta or an h and theta, is by getting y by itself. How would I get y by itself? Well, I'd multiply both sides by h. And so I learned that y is equal to h sine theta. Or I could say that x is equal to h cos. And so the way to actually convert these, we would say that x will equal, this is our h, or, h and r are basically the same things when we solve mathematics. The hypotenuse and the radius of anything on a circle would work the same way. So we'd say 5 cosine 5 pi over 6, and y is going to be equal to 5 sine of 5 pi over 6. Now, if we want to use the hand trick to solve this, we're going to use our pi over 6 finger, because that is a reference angle here. But it's important to note that 5 pi over 6, since it's almost 1 whole pi, is going to be located in the second quadrant. So 5 pi over 6 is going to be somewhere over here, going this way. Right, this way, that's 5 pi over 6 because it's almost 1 whole pi. It's just short of being 1 whole pi. 6 pi over 6 would be this spot. So it's over here, which means for us, the x values are going to be negative, x will be negative, and y's will be positive. So at that, we can already go through here and say, oh, this answer choice is out because this x is positive and this one's also out. And so as I look through these two, it's going to be one of these two values. So now let's use our pi over 6 finger. So I'm looking at the palm of my hand. My pi over 6 finger is going to be my ring finger because I start from the thumb and say that's pi over 2. My pointer is pi over 3. Middle finger pi over 4. So it's in my ring finger, pi over 6. I bend that finger. I flip my hand, and I have one finger on top, which is the y, and I have 3 fingers down below. So for x, it would be the square root of 3 over total fingers. I have 4 total fingers, so it would be square root of 4 there. And the y value would be 5 times, I have 1 finger on top, so that's the 1y, and 4 fingers total. Remember, because the song goes psi y cos x, tangent is y over x, and so it's y fingers on top of x fingers. And so now I simplify this. This would be the same thing. And by the way, I forgot to put in there, x is negative. So I would say this is negative 5 square roots of 3, all divided by 2. And on here, over here, we'd have 5 times 1, which is just 5 over 2. Because the square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is 2. So these would be my points. So I'm looking at F being the correct answer. Now, that was a lot of work. Could we do this in the calculator? Absolutely. So how do we do it in the calculator? Well, from the calculator screen, I do control parenthesis, which gives me these brackets. And now I have to type in the value. I have 5, comma, and then if it's an angle, you have to press control book, hit that angle, and now we say 5 pi over 6. So 5 pi, and I'm going to do control divide to get a fraction, 5 pi over 6. Now one mistake I would make if I hit enter right now is my calculator's in degree mode. This is in radians. I need to go up, and on the pi, I go to where the degree symbol is, and I hit the radians button. Now when I press enter, this will change this to x and y. So it tells me here's my x, here's my y. And we could check. We thought x was going to be negative 5 square root of 3, all divided by 2. So let's see if this matches the x value. It does. And we thought that the y was 5 over 2. whoops. And I press enter, and I see they're exactly the same. So we did do it correctly.